Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. The new documentary series on Netflix, WWE Unreal, has dropped. The first episode has dropped, and the question now remains, will this documentary, WWE Unreal, ruin sort of the mystique of professional wrestling? Because for a very long time, we never talked about what happened backstage, backstories of real people, their real names. It was all kayfabe. It was all about what actually happened in the ring to suspend the viewer's disbelief as much as humanly possible. Because for a very, very long time, people have known that professional wrestling is a predetermined fight and everything is scripted going into the show. So what's real? What's not real? What's a work? What's a shoot? It was all sort of up in the air, and it suspended the viewer's belief for a very, very long time, and for good reason, right? When you go to a Marvel movie and you see Iron Man flying in the air, you don't want to see the little string attached to him, right? You want to believe that the movie you're watching is real when the time you're watching it. You want to suspend your belief. You want to be involved and invested and immersed in what's happening. And the same thing with WWE. Now they've had this partnership with Netflix, and of course Netflix does amazing documentaries, amazing sports documentaries, and now they've decided to do one on WWE, and episode 1 has dropped, and it's quite interesting. I don't believe that WWE Unreal, the documentary series, will ruin wrestling. I do believe that it will garner a lot of attention from non-wrestling fans scrolling through Netflix. Those people on Netflix that maybe haven't even watched an episode of Monday Night Raw or have never watched professional wrestling or WWE, but ask a ton of questions about what goes into it. Is it real? Is it fake? What happens? All of those sorts of questions, they will stumble upon that documentary and they will enjoy it. It's a very obviously well-made, well-produced documentary. Of course, it's on Netflix, it's WWE, right? There's a lot of money and time that went into creating this. I don't think it'll ruin wrestling. I do think it will give the fans, though, more ammunition to nitpick some things, because now they know how the sausage is made. They know that there's a room full of people deciding what decisions to make, who wins, who doesn't win. This person wins, that person wins, this person's going over. Now they have more ammunition to say they made the wrong choice. They don't know what they're doing. That's a terrible storyline. That shit sucks. You guys should have thought of some better stuff in the writers' room. All that type of stuff now has more ammunition. The fans have more ammunition to complain about things they don't like because now they know how the sausage is made. They know that a team full of people could have come up with some better ideas for their favorite wrestler, or this or that, or whatever the case may be. But I think for the uninitiated, let's say, to professional wrestling, the random Netflix viewer, it will be a very, very cool documentary and might even encourage them to actually watch an episode of Monday Night Raw to sort of see how everything comes together. What happens backstage, what happens in Guerrilla, what happens from sort of the genesis of an idea and how it sort of formulates to get to be on TV, and decisions about big matches and WrestleMania plans and who's going to win the Royal Rumble, and all these sorts of things go into it. Like, what goes into it, a 2.5-hour episode of Monday Night Raw, is incredible. And they do it every single week. Like, it's a nonstop 24/7 job of storylines, of building storylines, of building characters, of posting on social media, of putting it all together, of creating matches and moments and stories and surprises and all these sorts of things. That's what goes into creating great WWE story and great WWE wrestling. I don't love the fact that now everyone knows everything about all things, how the sausage is made. Even when I was coming up as a professional wrestler in 2016, kayfabe was a big deal. You wanted to keep some secrets behind the curtain so that the fans didn't know everything about everything, and they just came to the show, really enjoyed it. We could suspend their disbelief. We could put on a great show. We could have them forget about, anything else that they might be dealing with in their life. And that was professional wrestling. Now, in today's day and age, it's different. Everything is out in the open. People want to know everything about everything, and you can give them that with all these documentaries and inside scoops and behind the scenes and all these sorts of things, and that's what WWE Unreal is. And I don't think it's going to ruin wrestling, but I do think it's going to give some fans more ammunition to hate and complain, but it's also going to give the uninitiated maybe a reason to want to watch some WWE or professional wrestling in general, and I think, that's very cool. What we also saw on the first episode of WWE Unreal, was some original plans for WrestleMania, which had Gunther versus CM Punk, which now we're getting at SummerSlam about 4 or 5 months later. But the original plan, written on a whiteboard with some dry erase markers, was Gunther versus CM Punk. CM Punk or John Cena were the original pitches to win the Men's Royal Rumble, but then again, I guess Jey Uso got too hot for them to deny, and they picked Jey Uso, which I think was the wrong decision, looking back at it. Not saying Jey Uso isn't super popular and super over with the fans. He definitely, absolutely is. But so is LA Knight. Jey Uso and LA Knight, they're super over with the fans. It doesn't mean that he should win the Royal Rumble, Jey Uso. I just think it was a wrong decision. You have CM Punk win that Royal Rumble. Oh my God, the fans absolutely go nuts. He goes on to face Gunther at WrestleMania. Gunther beats him. They feud all the way up, maybe now until SummerSlam. Just an absolute dastard, crazy, brutal feud, and now CM Punk finally wins the big one at SummerSlam. Could have done that, would have been amazing, but then we wouldn't have gotten, the greatest triple threat match in the history of WrestleMania, which is Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, but originally it was Rollins versus Reigns. You still had Cena versus Rhodes, all those stuff is. So it's kind of cool to be able to see some original plans for WrestleMania, what their original thoughts were probably like in January, February, and then how that switched in January with Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble and all that stuff together. I mean, they're planning for WrestleMania now already. What's going to happen at SummerSlam sort of leads into the next thing, will lead into what happens, going into Royal Rumble season, will lead what happened into WrestleMania season. It's a 12-month thing. It's just the cycle keeps going and going and going because they do live shows every single week. There has to be new and fresh storylines, and the storylines have to culminate and build into something. So it's cool to see those original plans. Now we get to see Gunther and CM Punk at SummerSlam, and I'm praying to God that Gunther retires CM Punk and we don't have to see him anymore, just like Gunther retired Goldberg. Speaking of retirement, also in that show, The Rock claims that his final boss character is the greatest heel of all time. The Rock is just sort of out of his mind. Maybe the only thing that CM Punk said that I agreed with is that The Rock is a bald fraud. I don't think The Rock is a fraud. I think CM Punk is a fraud. I don't think The Rock is a fraud. The final boss character is incredible. An incredible character. Absolutely was super valuable and super important to WrestleMania 40, but really did not help WrestleMania 41. Kind of ruined it with stealing Cody Rhodes' soul, Travis Scott thing, and then not being there at WrestleMania 41, and the whole thing was kind of a mess. But his final boss character is incredible, but it's definitely 100% not the greatest heel character of all time. That's an insane statement to make just based on longevity, how much work you've done. I mean, you look at Ric Flair's heel work, you look at Hulk Hogan in the NWO, you look at Triple H as a heel, you look at Randy Orton's heel work back in the day, you look at CM Punk's heel work back in the day. I mean, wow, those are the things. You look at The Miz's heel work back in the day. I mean, some real heat that happened. I mean, you look at current Logan Paul is getting a ton of heat. I'm not saying all these people compare. I'm not saying that they're the same as The Rock. They're different than The Rock. But you can't go out there and claim that the final boss is the greatest heel of all time when your body of work is so small. But I'm not going to diminish the value that the final boss character brought to WrestleMania 40. His interactions with Cody Rhodes, all of those things absolutely elevated what we saw at WrestleMania 40. But his final boss character and The Rock in general sort of destroyed WrestleMania 41 in terms of John Cena, the heel turn, Cody Rhodes, things of that nature. But I'll give it to The Rock. He invented that final boss character, and it really, really worked. But I can't stand behind the fact that he says it's the greatest heel of all time. That's just untrue and a kind of a crazy thing to say. But it's The Rock. I appreciate The Rock. We love The Rock. It's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So I think that's a good start for WWE and this WWE Unreal series. We'll see what happens. We'll see what they show. We'll see how fans react. We'll see if it brings in any new fans. But I think it's a cool thing for Netflix and random watchers of Netflix outside of sort of the WWE universe. I'm not super high on showing everyone everything all the time. I think there should be some mystique. I don't think the curtain should be pulled all the way back, and hopefully it isn't. I still think that fans want to come to the show and not know what's happening and be surprised and suspend their disbelief, just like when they go to a superhero movie. So hopefully WWE doesn't show them everything about everything, and there's still some mystique, and there's still some larger than life characters, and there's still some fans that can get behind something and think it's a work or a shoot, or get sort of surprised by something and be amazed by the beautiful thing that is professional wrestling. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.